In Iraq, Haider sat down with Assad, his face tense as he explained what he had recently learned. I've been going over everything that's happened since the rally, and I think we missed a crucial piece. There's a CIA guy named Amir who was there with 2 other men. One of them, I'm almost certain, is Asif himself. They set you up, Assad. I'm convinced of it now. Assad looked at him, his expression a mix of anger and worry. If Amir and Asif are directly involved, this is bigger than we thought. They've been pulling strings to keep us in a trap. Haider's jaw clenched. We can't keep waiting for things to change. Seeing Mustafa tortured on camera was enough for me. I'm done with hiding. I'm going to release the video we made in SWAT, the one with you and Mansoor. It'll make them think we're still in SWAT, and that'll keep their eyes off Iraq. They'll have to react, and this will give us a chance to strike back. Assad's eyes widened with alarm. Haider, that's incredibly dangerous. If you go back to Pakistan, there's no guarantee you'll make it out alive. Haider's gaze was resolute. Dangerous? Maybe. But I broke into that prison to get you out, and I'd do it again. Mustafa doesn't deserve this, he's suffering because of us. I'm going back, and I'll release the video in Islamabad. The government will be in full panic mode once it hits the air. They'll start looking for us in Pakistan, leaving us time to prepare our next moves. Assad took a deep breath, concern etched on his face. You realize how risky this is. They'll be watching every move. Haider's expression softened, though his resolve remained firm. I know the risks. But I'm also the only one who can do it. I'll release the video and then make my way to the president. I'll tell him that we know everything, that we know who's involved and that we have Afzal, who will come forward on live television 5 days before the election and expose the truth. No one else knows about Afzal's death except us. They'll think he's still a witness who can testify. Assad, shocked by the plan, put a hand on Haider's shoulder. But if you reveal Afzal, they'll come for you even harder. Haider's eyes narrowed. They'll be more afraid of losing the election than losing me. I'll tell the president that if Mustafa isn't freed immediately and our names aren't cleared, we'll release Afzal's testimony to the world. They'll have no choice. Haider's plan was bold, almost reckless, but it was a chance to turn the tables. Assad was silent for a moment, grappling with the gravity of the situation. You're right, he said finally. But we have to be careful. Make sure everything is airtight. Haider nodded. I'll handle the details. But before I go, I need to make arrangements to reach Afzal's sister in Karachi. She has a copy of the video from his juice stand camera that proves 2 men planted the explosives in your bag. It's the last piece of evidence we need. Assad's eyes filled with hope, though he tried to keep his expectations grounded. If we can get that video, it could prove our innocence. It's our only real evidence. Assad knew what Haider was risking but trusted him completely. We'll wait. Just be careful. Haider prepared himself mentally for the journey. He'd need to rely on his contacts and move quietly to avoid detection, but he was determined. He packed only what he needed, ensuring he could blend in and avoid drawing attention. He'd travel to Islamabad, where he would release the video, and then head to Karachi for the final piece of evidence. Haider's mind was already working, formulating the details of his plan. Once I secure the video, I'll take it straight to the president. But until then, I need you and Mansoor to stay hidden here in Iraq. Don't communicate unless it's an absolute emergency. Before leaving, Haider looked back at Assad and Mansoor, determination etched into his features. Remember, this is just a step in our journey. Once we're cleared, we'll all come back together. Assad and Mansoor nodded, watching Haider leave with a mixture of pride and fear. Meanwhile, the broadcast about Sammy's reward spread like wildfire. The announcement ignited interest and speculation across the nation. People who hadn't thought twice about Sammy's escape now viewed him as a millionaire fugitive. Every news outlet ran the story, urging viewers to report any sightings or information. Sammy, staying hidden in Murray, had heard the news. He was well aware that his money was now public knowledge, making him an even bigger target. He didn't care about the money, seeing his family was what mattered to him. But now, with the CIA pursuing him and the entire country aware of his wealth, he knew his freedom might be short-lived. Sammy reached out to Haider, using a secure line. "Haider, I need to know what's happening. This reward is making it impossible for me to stay under the radar. I have to keep moving." Haider's voice came through, steady and reassuring. "Sammy, I understand. Just keep a low profile and stay in contact. If anything changes, I'll let you know. Right now, we're focused on getting our names cleared. Assad and Mansoor are safe, and I'm heading back to Pakistan to handle things on our end." Sammy let out a sigh of relief. "Thank you, Haider. I'll keep my family safe. Just promise me that if anything happens to me, you'll make sure they're okay." Haider's voice softened. "You have my word." As Haider traveled back toward Pakistan, he reviewed his plan. His first step was to release the video of Assad and Mansoor in SWAT, a move that would send the government into a frenzy, forcing them to divert resources back to Pakistan. The second step would be meeting with the president, demanding Mustafa's immediate release and the signing of a pardon for himself, Assad, Mansoor, and Sammy. If everything went according to plan, the president would feel cornered. Haider would convince him that if he didn't act, Afzal would testify before the election, exposing the corruption and setting the stage for a scandal that could cost him everything. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Haider steeled himself for what lay ahead. The journey was dangerous, but he was ready. His mind returned to Mustafa, who was still suffering because of him, and to Assad and Mansoor, whose lives hung in the balance. It was time to bring the fight back to those who had wronged them. Episode 28, The Last Moves Begin. Haider stepped off the quiet plane onto Pakistani soil, his mind racing as he made his way toward Murray. The air was crisp, and the mountains loomed dark and silent under the night sky. He had returned with a purpose, knowing the risks but resolved to see his plan through. Sammy was waiting for him in a rented cabin tucked away in the mountains, and Haider knew that this would be the last time he would see Sammy on Pakistani soil. When Haider arrived at the cabin, Sammy greeted him with a firm embrace. The years of prison life had left their marks, but Haider could see a glimmer of relief in Sammy's eyes. It was as if meeting his family had given him a new sense of peace. Sammy's wife and daughter were inside, huddled together as they heard the footsteps on the porch. Haider entered, immediately sensing the warmth and togetherness of the family that Sammy had longed for over 2 decades. He felt a pang of sadness, realizing the sacrifices Sammy had made and the scars he carried, both seen and unseen. Sammy's wife and daughter welcomed him with quiet smiles, thankful for the man who had reunited them. As they sat around a small wooden table, Haider laid out his plan. "Sammy," he began, his tone serious, "you've done more than enough. Staying in Pakistan isn't safe for you or your family. With the CIA breathing down your neck and your reward money broadcasted across the country, it's only a matter of time before someone sells you out. You can't stay here." Sammy looked at him, a hint of confusion in his eyes. "But where else can we go?" Haider reached into his bag and pulled out 3 Iraqi passports. He slid them across the table. "I made arrangements for all of you. These passports will get you out. You'll be safe in Iraq, where I have contacts who will look after you. You have enough money to live comfortably for the rest of your life. Take your wife and daughter and start fresh." Sammy's wife looked at him with worry, gripping his hand. She didn't want to lose him again, and the mere thought of staying in Pakistan, with the CIA on high alert, made her uneasy. "Sammy," she whispered, her voice soft but firm, "we lost you once. We don't want to lose you again. Please, let's go." His daughter added, "We just got you back, Baba. Don't make us go through losing you again. Sammy's eyes softened as he looked at his family. He nodded slowly, the weight of the decision clear on his face. You're right, he said quietly. It's time to let go of the past. I want to be there for you both and live the life we should have had. Hader watched the scene unfold, feeling a sense of fulfillment at seeing Sammy find his way back to his family. The jet that brought me here is still waiting, Hader informed them. It'll take you to Iraq directly, without any stops or questions. You leave tonight. Sammy nodded, his gratitude evident in his eyes. Hader, thank you. You've done more than I could ever ask. I owe you everything. Hader shook his head. You don't owe me anything, Sammy. Just live a good life with your family. That's all I want. Sammy embraced Hader once more before leading his wife and daughter to the car waiting to take them to the AIE into the dark mountain roads. Hader watched, knowing that this might be the last time he would ever see Sammy. But he felt peace in his heart, knowing he had done his part to help his friend find freedom. Hader returned to the cabin and took up residence there, deciding to stay in Murray for a few days to finalize his next steps. He knew that the longer he stayed in Pakistan, the greater the risks, but he had one last thing to accomplish before leaving. Mustafa, still imprisoned, needed his help. Mustafa had been his trusted friend for years, and Hader was determined to fulfill his promise of getting him out. Through his network of contacts, Hader learned that Mustafa was being held in the I block of the prison, the same block where Hader had previously been. Hader had several friends inside I block, men he trusted who would go out of their way to help him. One of Hader's friends, Arif, was a guard at the prison and sympathetic to his cause. Hader arranged for Arif to pass a message to Mustafa and get him to a hidden area in the prison where a phone was waiting for him. Late one night, Mustafa was guided through the shadows of the prison corridors, led by Arif, who kept a close eye on the guards patrolling the area. When they reached a secluded storage room, Arif handed Mustafa a small phone. This is from Hader. Keep your voice low and don't stay on the line too long, he whispered. Mustafa nodded, his heart racing as he took the phone and heard Hader's familiar voice on the other end. Mustafa, it's me. Hader, Mustafa whispered, relief washing over him. I didn't think I'd hear from you again. Listen carefully, Hader continued, his tone urgent. Do you trust me? With my life, Mustafa replied without hesitation. Good. Then believe me when I say this, I will get you out within the next 2 days. But you have to follow my instructions exactly. Once you're free, head to the place I've marked for you. It'll be safe, but you'll have to stay out of sight. CIA agents will be looking for you, and they'll do anything to bring you back. Do you understand? Mustafa swallowed, a mix of hope and fear in his voice. I understand. I trust you, Hader. Good. Now go back to your cell quietly. I'll handle the rest. They ended the call, and Arif helped Mustafa back to his cell, leaving him with a sense of hope he hadn't felt in weeks. Mustafa knew that if anyone could pull this off, it was Hader. Meanwhile, back at the CIA's Islamabad headquarters, Asif was growing increasingly desperate. Despite his relentless efforts, Hader, Assad, Mansour, and even Sammy had slipped through his fingers. The humiliation of their escape weighed heavily on him, and his superiors were pressing him for results. Asif's frustration turned into a burning determination to capture them all, especially Sammy, who was rumored to possess a hidden fortune worth millions. Asif decided to employ a new strategy. He went on national television, announcing a reward for any information on Sammy's whereabouts. He emphasized that Sammy was a dangerous criminal who possessed a fortune in illicit funds hidden somewhere in Pakistan. If anyone has any information on Sammy or any of his associates, Asif stated firmly on live TV, please come forward. The government is offering a substantial reward for credible leads. It is in the nation's interest to capture this criminal and bring him to justice. The news spread quickly across the country once again, sparking curiosity and excitement among the public. Informants, bounty hunters, and even ordinary citizens began scouring the country, hoping to cash in on the reward. In Murray, Haider saw the announcement on the news. He knew that Asif's desperation was reaching dangerous levels, and he needed to act fast. Mustafa's life was in jeopardy, and time was running out. Haider knew he needed to divert attention away from Mustafa. He decided to use the video he, Mansoor and Assad had recorded in Swat. By releasing it in Pakistan, he could mislead the authorities into believing that they were hiding somewhere in Swat. This would allow him to create a diversion and buy Mustafa time. After 2 days in Murray, Haider returned to Islamabad to execute his plan. He would release the video and cause enough chaos to keep the CIA and Pakistani authorities occupied. Once he arrived in the capital, Haider used his contacts to arrange a safe location from which to upload the video anonymously. He went to a secure internet cafe late at night and uploaded the video to multiple social media platforms, tagging popular news accounts to ensure maximum exposure. In the video, Assad and Mansoor appeared in Swat, recounting how they were framed by powerful people within the government. Assad explained that the current administration, in a desperate attempt to maintain power, had planted evidence to set them up as scapegoats. He also alluded to having footage of 2 men placing explosives in their bags, which he promised to release just days before the election. Mansoor supported his claims, adding that he had been tortured and that many innocent people were suffering due to the government's schemes. Within hours, the video went viral. Social media exploded with hashtags and discussions, and the video was picked up by mainstream news outlets. The current government, already on shaky ground with the upcoming election, was thrown into turmoil. Rumors circulated, speculating that Assad and Mansoor were hiding in Swat, and the authorities scrambled to respond. Haider then made his way to a private location where he arranged a meeting with a government insider, someone close to the president. He planned to use this contact to arrange a direct meeting with the president himself. In a small, dimly lit room, Haider met with the insider, a trusted ally who had worked with Haider in the past. Haider explained his plan. He would demand Mustafa's release and, in return, would offer the government a chance to avoid scandal by issuing pardons for himself, Assad, Mansoor, and Sami. The insider listened carefully, understanding the gravity of Haider's request. "We need to be strategic," the insider advised. "The president won't respond to threats, but he might listen if you can offer him a way to save face before the election. This is a high-risk move, Haider, but if it works, it could change everything." Haider nodded. "I understand. But I'm willing to take the risk. I can't abandon Mustafa after everything he's done for us." The insider arranged for Haider to meet with the president later that week, knowing that this was his best shot at securing freedom for his friends. Back in the prison, Mustafa waited nervously, unsure of what Haider's plan would entail but trusting in his friend's promise. The CIA, meanwhile, was still working every lead, and Asif was growing more frustrated with each passing day. He had received reports from his agents that Sami had been spotted in Murray, only to later learn that the trail had gone cold. Now, with the video circulating on social media, Asif was forced to divert his focus back to Swat, convinced that Assad and Mansoor were hiding there. Haider knew his time was running short, but he felt a renewed sense of hope. With the president's meeting on the horizon and the CIA distracted, he had one last move to make. This would be the final step in his dangerous game, and he was ready to risk everything. Episode 29, The Final Bargain. Haider sat across from the president of the current government, his expression unyielding as he faced the man responsible for the turmoil that had upended his life and the lives of his friends. Asif, the head of the CIA operation, stood nearby, his gaze cold and calculating. The air in the room was thick with tension, each man aware that this moment could determine the fate of not just Haider, but also Assad, Mansoor, Sami, and Mustafa. The president leaned forward, his voice low but laced with arrogance. So, you're here to make a deal? And what makes you think we'd agree to anything you propose? Haider didn't flinch. I know how your party has manipulated everything, from framing innocent men to stirring up false charges, all in a desperate attempt to win this election. I'm not here to threaten you, he continued, his voice calm yet resolute, but I know the lengths you'll go to keep the truth hidden. I don't want anything for myself, all I'm asking is that you pardon Assad, Mansour, Mustafa, and Sami. The president's eyes narrowed, calculating his options. Asif, however, couldn't restrain himself. We have other ways of handling this, he said, his tone dripping with disdain. I suggest we eliminate him right now. If we kill him, we'll deal with the others as they surface. Haider looked directly at Asif, a faint smile tugging at his lips. Go ahead, kill me. But know this, once I'm dead, the video and all the evidence we've gathered will be released to the public. We've secured it in places you can't even begin to reach. That video will show the country exactly who orchestrated this setup and why. The public outrage will destroy you. And don't think your own people will protect you, they'll abandon you to save themselves. The president's expression wavered, caught between Haider's confidence and Asif's urging. Asif, frustrated and feeling his authority challenged, was visibly bristling. But Haider remained unbothered. If I was afraid of death, Haider said quietly, his eyes fixed on the president, I wouldn't be sitting here today. I wouldn't have infiltrated the prison and freed Assad and Mansour, evading all of your intelligence operations in the process. Your forces have failed to capture us so far, they won't get another chance.